What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. I have been getting feedback and I would listen and pay attention to the comments. I've gotten two good responses so far in regards to how we can make these lives more interactive for you guys. My name is Terence, of course, and we got Alyssa here. Someone suggested instead of using my whiteboard, downloading a streaming platform that would allow me to write on my iPad. Haven't done that yet. But the other thing I got was people were curious on what questions or organizations will ask if you don't have a property and when you're going out to connect with them, and what you can say. So that's what we're going to be covering today. We're going to be covering the top 9 questions that organizations will ask you when you go in and start marketing. I discovered these questions after pitching hundreds of organizations probably now over the last few years, not just in Florida, but across the US. For the people who are in the community, these questions are already in there. So we're going to be going over those. So I'm going to pull it up, read from it, and then allow everyone to kind of interact from there. But hope everyone is having a great day. Garcia, where is your location? I'm in Tampa, Florida. Pastor Veronica, thanks for tuning in. All right. So if you're in the school community, go ahead and hit the classroom section, and you're going to scroll down to the 7th section, and it's called Pitch and Partner. So you're going to click on Pitch and Partner, opening up the Handling Conversation section, and we're going to be going over the common questions and answers. You should be good. Go ahead, Alyssa. So the first question that organizations are likely going to ask you is, do you have a property yet? Now, if you have a property already, fantastic. You can tell them about your property, the location. Heck, you can even invite them out for a tour. But what I teach and what I recommend, especially if you're first getting started, is to market before you have a property, which means you are going to be connecting with organizations while you do not have a property yet. And you need a good way of explaining to them, why you're still reaching out or what's going on, other than just saying no and then just sitting there, right? So what I have written here is you can say something like, no, not yet. We're focusing on building relationships with key partners like you to understand the needs before acquiring properties, right? Another thing that I like to say in the intro meetings of calls is letting them know, hey, we're in the beginning stage of our process right now, but we plan on opening up a few properties over the next few months. Instead of go the traditional landlord route, we really want to get into the affordable housing space. So we are reaching out to local organizations like yourself to establish a relationship and see if you guys are in need of different housing partners and kind of what you're looking for in a good housing partner, right? Something like that. Alyssa is eating pretzels next to me. And so sorry, apologies if you guys can hear that, but we're going to keep going. All right. So the first question out of the 9 questions that organization is going to ask you is, do you have a property yet? Do not be afraid of that question. It's okay to let them know you're in the beginning stages. It's okay to let them know you do not have a property yet. As long as you say it confidently and let them know where you're planning to go and why you're still reaching out to them now, you're good to go. And again, for housing department community members, I'm reading out of the pitch and partner section of the common questions and answers. All right. I didn't even do a mic check to make sure everyone could hear me, but I see Narika, shout out to Narika tapping the screen. Pastor Veronica was interacting, so I'm assuming and hoping that everyone could hear me. If you guys cannot, let me know. All right, moving on to question number 2. I love this question. How much are you going to charge? They love asking that, right? Now, what I'm seeing right now across the US are beds for a shared room. That means there's 2 people in a room, each bed going from between $600 to $800 per month. Beds for a private room going from $800 to $1,000 per month, right? Now, for you to get a better understanding of how much bed prices are really going for in your area, there's 2 things I recommend doing. One is, while you're connecting with organizations, like I'm going to show you, you find out how much their current clients are currently paying at other housing partners and how much their other housing partners are charging for a similar setup. The second thing you can do is call into other housing programs that are already up and running, and you could pretend that either you or your cousin or your aunt or your sister, somebody's in need of housing, and see what they quote you on based off those prices, right? Shout out Miguel that he finally caught the live. Welcome in, welcome in. So for the organization, when they ask you, how much are you going to charge? Here's a answer that I'll read off here, and then we could do a little bit of a deeper dive for it. So organization says, how much are you going to charge? You can say, this will depend a lot on the neighborhood and comparable market expenses, but in general, we plan on offering clean, structured, affordable housing with all bills paid, so it's nice and simple for tenants. And then I call it the reverse Uno. So you always want to be reverse Uno. You don't want to just answer the question and then you're just done, right? Now it's just a pause in the conversation. You're looking at them, they're looking at you, trying to figure out what comes next. You reverse Uno it and say, can you give me an idea on what you and your tenants would consider affordable? This will help us greatly when it comes to acquiring homes, right? So you're asking them, how much are your tenants already paying in a nice way, right? Because you don't want to just come off as saying that. The other way you can say that is, how much are your other housing partners charging for a similar setup to us, right? So it's either getting a better understanding of the client's budget or getting a better understanding of the other housing partners that they're working with. And that's the way you want to spin it. I was on a organization call today with a client in our accelerator program, and she's at the part now to where she's leading the calls on her own. I'm just there for support. So I actually had my camera off with it. I love when clients get to that phase because their confidence from the beginning to the end is completely different. But that's besides the point. The organization we were meeting with said to her that they had housing partners that some of them did only private rooms. They had some of them that did shared and private rooms, and then they had some that did only shared rooms. And they were breaking down the prices of how much each one of those goes for a range wise, and they were comparing it to the clients that they work with and their budgets, which are likely most of them were on SSI or SSDI. So they were saying like that $900 range and below is really their sweet spot for what they're looking for most options. So that is a good way to, again, if you remember anything, reverse Uno it and get a better understanding of what the organization is looking for or what bed prices are in your area from the organizations themselves. You said, how am I doing questions? How do you want to do questions? Do we have questions?
Personally, no.
Okay.
There's only one. That's what I was just asking.
Go ahead, say it. What is it?
Your residents have curfews.
We do quiet hours after 11 o'clock. So biggest concern is just we're in residential neighborhoods, so making sure that we're not disturbing the neighbors. So I don't have if I don't have it to where like, hey, you need to be home by a certain time. If people are going to be long for more than an evening, then they let us know. That way we're not looking for them or something like that. But everything else is okay. If they're in a shared room, quiet hours can also be, hey, instead of watching social media on your phone or being on the phone in general, you have to put headphones in, or watching YouTube, right? You put headphones in instead of having it on speakerphone. So that's where that kind of changes. We do have Alyssa here, the lovely Alyssa, monitoring the chat. So if you guys have questions, feel free to put it in. And trust me, she has no problem tapping me or cutting me off and saying, hey, there's a question here.
I have no problem cutting it.
She has no problem cutting me off. I can co-sign on that. All right, moving on to question number 3. Organizations are likely going to ask is, what services will you be offering? Which is a great question, right? They're trying to get a better understanding of where you fit in, who they can refer to you. So what services will you be offering? So you can say, right now, we plan on, and this is for people who are following the independent living or unlicensed group home business model. Your main thing is focusing on housing, right? You're not providing any care or services because you do not want to go through the license process at this time. So you can say right now we plan on focusing on housing first. Housing first, just for anyone who doesn't know, is a buzzword that organizations have been using over the last few years. It pretty much means we're focusing on housing individuals and getting a roof over their head before worrying about anything else that they may need to get them to that next stage of care. So when you say stuff like that, there it's almost like code to where they're like, oh, okay, like they're one of us. They know what they're talking about. So right now we plan on focusing on housing first. However, we are also working on establishing relationships with third party service providers in case our tenants do need any services. Even though our company will not be providing any services directly, we want to ensure that our tenants are getting the services they need, right? So, in other words, and you don't have to sound robotic when you're saying this or even read it directly off of the script for the people in the community. But you can say, right now we're focusing on housing first, right? They'll know what that means. It's a buzzword. But we're one of the reasons why we're reaching out to you is to learn more about the services you offer and the other organizations we've been meeting with to see when, if and when it makes sense to refer clients over to you guys that may need assistance with life skills or some of their ADLs, because we're completely okay with outside organizations coming in to provide services that we do not. We understand that there's not one organization that can solve everything. We're all working together on this. So our way that we're helping is going to be housing initially, and we'll rely on partners like you to then provide the other services. Another way I like asking that too is kind of like I'll say like the third quarter of a call. If like the third quarter. You know what I mean by when I say third quarter, Alyssa?
No,
Okay, so Elizabeth doesn't get it. So maybe, and so not the middle of the call, towards the end, but not completely at the end of a call or a meeting with an organization. After, let's say you've been asking them a ton of questions, they've been giving you value. One thing I like doing is letting them know, hey, we want to make sure, and we believe that relationships are best when they're mutually beneficial. How can we help you guys out? Do you have any upcoming events coming on? What is the best process to refer clients over to you as well, because we're going to start getting a lot of calls from organizations, and since we're or individuals, and since we're focused on housing, let us know how we can refer people over to you so you guys can generate more business as well. And then they love that. They're big fans of that. Go ahead. Alyssa said we got 2 questions. They may not be able to hear you because I have my mic on, but go ahead.
If we wanted to report, I can get loud. If we wanted to report the individual rental payment to the credit bureau, how would we go about doing that? And do you feel like it's necessary to go to that extent?
The individual would be the one to request that. That's not going to benefit you in any way. But if they need assistance with their rental history, that's something that they can set up on their own. But it would have to go through them. One thing that you can do though is be a solid reference for individuals. That's sometimes what they're going to need more than the credit side of things, because even with the payments being documented, it's not going to boost them up that much. But when they are ready to transition out of your place and they apply somewhere else, if you can also reach out or they can use you as a solid reference or referral, that's going to make a ton more of a difference than just doing the credit points.
And then someone asks, what do you do if the residents don't pay? What is the process look like?
Well, I recommend, and I work with individuals to where their income's guaranteed. So it's either SSI or SSDI, or it's money from organizations that are covering the payment for the individuals. And that's what I recommend as well. When you primarily work with and focus on individuals that are paying from income from their job, there's a need for that too. But that's where you'll have fluctuations with payments, unfortunately. And I'm speaking from experience, only because jobs fluctuate, unfortunately. So they can lose their job. The company that they're with can no longer be in existence, whatever it may happen. And then there's a period to where they're searching for a new job, having to go through the interview process, training process, and it could be like a month before they're getting that next payment. So I recommend focusing on where the income is more guaranteed. Now, let's say worst case scenario, someone just you let someone in and they're unable to pay. Hopefully, you set up the right resident agreement with them, so they're already clear on the program rules and the house rules and things of that nature. So my next phase is that I usually go to, instead of coming over like a macho person. I never call anyone out there at their name or anything like that, but you want to have alternative solutions for them. So if they don't have income, you're not going to be able to refer them to another housing partner, which is usually a good option, especially if someone's a good person and they just broke one of your house rules. So the next option then is going to be, one, referring them over to a shelter. That would probably be their best bet if they have no income. So coming to them with a shelter that maybe you already have a relationship with because you know one of the case managers, and made sure that there was a opening. Or seeing if there's another organization. Again, when you're connecting with orgs, you'll learn what services are available. Some organizations have emergency funds set aside to help people with, that fall behind, like off 1 month's rent, or helping with a utility coverage, or something like that, right? So if you have that relationship, or you know who you can refer them over to, you can connect the dots for them. And that organization maybe doesn't have funds set aside to where they can, on every month, cover somebody's rent. But if someone's behind for just 1 month, and it's between the rent getting paid and them having to, go back to a shelter, they might be able to assist there. So that's why these, marketing and connecting with these organizations is very important at the beginning. I never know where to look at on here because I'm seeing myself, but then the camera's up here. Hopefully, it doesn't look too weird. We're figuring it out though.
Do you have a lease agreement available or an example?
A license agreement, Kim. Did Kim say that? Yeah, that was good. It's inside. All of that stuff is inside of the housing department community. So we have the house rule templates. I have an example lease for a property between me and one of my property landlords that I work with. We do the resident agreements. We have email campaign templates. We have call scripts. All of that stuff's inside the housing department community. So if you're on that phase, I recommend you joining. The links in this description for the video, and then also in my bio as well. Good on questions?
Mhm.
All right, going on to question number 4. Yeah, are we on 4? Yep, question number 4. And for the people who are just joining, we're going over the top 9 questions that organizations will ask you as you are marketing your housing business. Hopefully you guys are doing it this way, but the goal is to market before you have the home up and running. That way, when you have the home, you're not struggling to get people in it, right? Same way Apple markets before the iPhone is available in stores, right? You're going to be telling you about it. You're going to see ads about it to build up the momentum, the hype, right? Same way apartment complexes put coming soon signs up when it's still just dirt and gravel, right? To get you excited about the marketing. Most businesses advertise before the actual product is available, and you should be doing the same in this space. Now, when you do, that doesn't mean organizations aren't going to ask you questions. And that's where I've noticed some people get stuck, is they're like, okay, I started marketing, but then they ask me, what do I have a property yet, or what services I offer, and things of that nature. And sometimes it could be challenging to answer those questions. So what I'm reading off of is one of the sections inside of the housing department community that's underneath pitch and partner. And it's the top 9 questions that organizations have asked me and my clients over the past few years across the US. These are the top 9 ones that I've heard the most, so that when you guys are coming across these questions, you have a better idea of how to answer it. So I need to drink some water because I feel like I've been talking a lot.
Next question is,
Hmm?
can you elaborate on some of the questions necessary for the individual intake process?
On a different video. Oh, actually, no, I can do that now. So the question was, can you elaborate on some of the questions necessary when you're screening an individual, essentially? So do they have a case manager or not? Have they been incarcerated? If so, what for? When were they released? Things like that. Mental health. Do they have any diagnosis? Are they capable of taking their medications on their own? What is their diagnosis? Finances. Are they paying through government assistance? Are they working with an organization? Or are they collecting income from their job, or as a family member helping out? And then also, you want to get a better understanding of what kind of housing they're looking for. Are they looking for emergency shelter, permanent housing, or something more transitional? You can provide all three of those, but it helps you get into a better idea of what they're looking for and how long they may be looking to stay. Whew, I'm winded. What did we do this weekend? Maybe I haven't been on live in a little bit. So me talking, because I don't think I'm talking fast, am I?
No, I don't think so. I would tell you.
Okay, cool. Am I talking too fast, guys? Sometimes you guys are slow. Shout out to Narika. I see you liking the chat.
My friend and I want to do
Hold on,
this.
no one has replied to me as far as am I talking too fast. So maybe no one's listening. Narika, all right. Shout out Narika. She said no. Yvonne said no. Okay, cool. Cool. All right. Appreciate you guys. We are gonna Precious. I see you. Thank you. Baduz, there we go. Carol, I like it. All right, we're gonna keep going then. Well, let me do one of these and then we'll go to the question because I've said we're on number 4 and I haven't gotten to 4. And we got about uh, yeah, 15 more minutes. Cool. So the other question is organizations will ask you, this is number 4 is what type of housing are you going to be providing? So they're looking for like, hey, is this individual units for mothers and children or fathers and children for small families? Are these high rises? Are these individual houses? Like what type of housing is this that you're looking to offer? So you can answer this by, again, this is if you're not following my business model, then these answers won't be the best for you. But if you are, this could work. So you can say, for our first couple properties, we plan on offering shared cooperative housing in a residential setting. From there, maybe in the next 6 to 12 months, we'll be looking into multifamily and possibly even development projects in order to accommodate clients that need private units, right? Very important here. The reason why you say for our first couple properties, we plan on doing X, Y, and Z, and then you also tell them about the future, and you can change what your future looks like. If you know you don't want to do individual units or anything like that, you can obviously change out your answer. But you always want to be talking about the what's coming and then the or present and then the future as well, to get them excited and let them know, without handing over a business plan or a proposal like, hey, we have a plan where we're looking to grow. We're not just stagnant sitting here on doing one home and then you won't be able to work with us that much because our home will be filled. No, we're going to be a long-term partner for you that's looking to grow. Because now subconsciously on their side, they're going to be thinking, okay, this is getting exciting. I need to make sure that I'm sending Terrence my best clients. I don't want to mess up this relationship because there's going to be room for growth. They're going to help me move through clients on my caseload a lot faster. All right. Number 5, we'll do number 5 and then we'll get to the question, Alyssa. So number 5 is what type of agreement will it be? Short term or long term? So they're going to be asking about the agreement length. Maybe I'm thinking out loud again. All right. Yeah, talking to myself. All right. So a good way that you can answer this is, and if you're in the community, you're good to say this because you're using my agreement, but our lawyers have developed a standard tenant agreement for us, but we are open to negotiation. We understand that for some tenants, this will be a short-term transitionary situation, while others may be looking for more long-term solution. We're open to terms and flexible based on you and your client's needs, okay? And if you don't want to say the lawyer part, you don't have to. Biggest thing is you're letting them know, yes, we have a solid resident agreement in place, but we are open and can be flexible. Perfect example of this is, I'll use myself. Most of my agreements are month to month. That's just how I set it up. The resident agreement I have in the community, it's a month-to-month agreement. City of Tampa rolled out a new program to where they had some leftover funds and they were able to help individuals for 9 months, I believe. Was it 9 months? No, 12 months, and covering their rent. Right. I connected with some people on their team, and they were telling me about the new program, and they're like, "Yeah, it's really cool, but we know, and unfortunately, you do month to month, so we require a 1 year lease for it based off where we got the funds. So it probably wouldn't be a good fit, but it would be cool if it was." And I was like, "Wait a minute." On the contrary, I can draft the. I'm flexible. If you guys need a 1 year lease to, for the individuals, they're probably going to be here for a year anyway. It makes no difference on my side. Let's do it, right? So that's where the flexibility comes into play. You have in organizations like that, because sometimes where organizations are getting their funds from ties their hands on little nuanced stuff that may not affect your business as much, but affects where they're able to spend their money. So that was a situation to where, for the few individuals that they wanted to refer over to me, I just drafted up a separate agreement for them that was a year term versus our usual month to month one. Didn't affect anything on our business side as far as structure or anything like that. But now we got the even more guaranteed income because it's coming not even from just a regular organization, but from the city themselves. Right. So hopefully that helped. Is this helpful, by the way? Me going through these questions? Can we get a one in the chat if this is helpful? And then I'm gonna let Alyssa ask, but I gotta see some ones. If not, then we can just stop. YouTube as well, please. Go ahead. What was the question?
My friend and I want to do this business together, but they are on Section 8. Would this affect our LLC?
My friend and I want to do this business together, but they are on Section 8. Will this affect our LLC? I'm not sure. If I'm being honest with you, it shouldn't affect your LLC. It may affect it when it comes down to applying for business funding, but it shouldn't affect anything as far as the setup goes. One thing that you could do as well is both of you guys created your own separate LLCs and then just do a JV between those two LLCs to create a new entity for additional protection. But yeah, the only thing I can see it negatively affecting is your opportunity for business funding. But I am not the best person to ask that. Moneyman G, aka Gladstone, he's our business funding expert inside of the community. He's actually leading the call tonight at 8 p.m. EST. So we're going to be hopping off here and hopping on to there. So if you're inside the community, that'd be a great question for him to ask, and you can ask it in about what is that, 14 minutes.
Tips to finding houses.
Zillow, buyowners.com, and Hotpads are my top three right now.
And what advice do you have for choosing a business name? I'm having a difficult time. Maybe I'm overthinking.
Yeah, it's okay. You're overthinking it. I do the same thing. Shout out to Team Introvert. It's common. Yeah, don't overthink the business name at all. If you're struggling about your LLC name, remember your LLC name does not have to be what the customer facing name is. So your LLC name can be 123 Main Street, but your DBA, which you'll see when you're filing for your LLC, can be the housing department, right? And that's the name that's going to go on your website. That's the name that your clients will know, the case managers will know, etc. The only people who are going to know 123 Main Street will be one, the organizations who require a W-9, and then two, like the banks and things of that nature that you work with for that level. Hold on, we gotta. I'm not done with these questions. It's 7:47. So moving on to number 5 of the top questions list. Oh wait, did we get ones? All right, shout outs. Okay, I see the ones. Let's go. Shout out to you guys. I'm glad this is helpful. All right, number 5 is going to be what type of agreement will it be? We did that. So number 6, How many residents will um, you house in each property? Ooh, good one, right? What am I saying, Terrence? Am I gonna tell them the truth that I'm trying to max this thing out for profitability? Do I lie to them and just say, oh, we're gonna have a couple? What's the balance in between? This is what I think the best option you can say is. It will depend on the size of the property and the needs of the residents. Generally, we plan to house between 4 to 8 individuals per home, keeping it small enough to maintain a community feel while providing the necessary support. Right. So again, you're not giving any exacts because you're still in the beginning stages, and that's okay, and you can always remind them on that. For you guys, for like me, what I always try to look for is at least 200 square feet per individual that I'm trying to have in the house. Right. So if I'm looking to house 8 people in the home should be 1,600 square feet at least. So 200 square feet per individual is a good, easy math that you guys can utilize. And I like to be at 4 people or under per one restroom. Like that's the max. All right. All right. We got 3 more questions on this list left. Did someone else ask a good question that you wanted me to answer? All right, Alyssa says we got three questions. Let's go.
Um, Organizations that offer cash vouchers are saying they only do a single room occupancy as well as other, I don't know this means, HCV at local housing authorities. Have you ran into this issue with veterans?
I think so. I need to reread the. Is this TikTok or YouTube?
YouTube
How did it start?
is the second to last one.
Organizations that offer VASH vouchers. Yep, HUD VASH vouchers are saying they only do single room occupancy as well as other um, HCV at local housing authorities. Have you ran into this issue with veterans? Absolutely. Yeah, I just did a video, I think last week, I posted it about how to work with veterans and what that actually means. So I recommend that you take a look at that. HUD VASH vouchers and working with HUD in general, that right now they have not moved over to the double occupancy side of things. I think by the end of this year they will. Right now they're still on team private rooms and above. Reason being is because they work off of FMR, which is fair market rate or fair market rent. So if you go to their website, they have every property identified based off of its zip code, and they say the amount that this property can generate. So if they say the property can generate $2,000 and it's a 4-bedroom home, they can only pay up to $500 per room for the HUD VASH voucher or anything to do related to HUD. So when I say working with veterans, I am not going through the HUD VASH program through the VA because of that same reason, right? That wouldn't be uh, profitable on my side the way that I set up the homes. Now the VA can still refer veterans over to you, but the veterans are going to be paying from their own individual VA benefits. It's similar to Social Security or disability, except they're getting it directly from the VA. So I hope that was helpful and answer your question. I think it did. I don't know why I'm overthinking that. That definitely answered your question and should be helpful. So yes, run into that before. Depending on your setup, I would not go that route because you're not going to be as profitable as you want to be. And beware of people who are saying they're getting X amounts for veterans and what that actually means and looks like online. I'm good to go.
No.
Okay, what's the next one?
Have you ever had experience with bed bugs?
Yeah, but you should be good. Best way to screen for bed bugs is going to be when individuals are moving in. If you suspect that they're coming from like a um, like woods or another place that may have bed bugs or something like that, you need to make sure that they're washing all of their items beforehand. You should be good to go. There's nothing that's gonna come up that you guys should be afraid of. handling or going through or working through. You're still, at the end of the day, this is still real estate. You're essentially landlord, so you still are going to be dealing with people. So you can screen people to the best of your ability, but there's going to be some people who, unfortunately slip through the cracks or are really good at putting on a mask or just, change personalities. And you're going to learn throughout the process what type of people you prefer to work with and, what's a good match for you in your home versus what is not.
Last one. How can I attend your class in person?
I do not have any classes
Would they be interested?
in person. Would you guys be interested if I did a class in person? Alyssa said, would you come? Alyssa would come.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't have any classes in person. We are doing a meetup in the community this year at some point. I can't believe it's already February. That's the only in-person thing that I have planned in my head so far. All right, moving on to.
You should have put a one in the chat for that. Put a one in the chat if you will come to the person.
Nah, because
You always asking for one.
Alyssa said put a one in the chat if you guys would come to an in-person event or a class that we hosted here in Tampa.
Yeah.
Here in Tampa. That is Alyssa's request. I see people putting ones. All right. Going to, oh my gosh, it's 7:54. All right. Speed round for the last 3 questions. Get ready. So, what's your screening process for tenants? Okay. So, you can let them know we'll be coordinating closely with nonprofit organizations, case managers, and social workers like yourself to ensure that the tenants are a good fit for the housing environments we're creating. We want to make sure the residents we take in will thrive in shared living space. Okay. So they just want to make sure you're not letting anybody in. And again, that you have a plan for this type of thing. But it's also important to let them know, like, hey, we understand that the population and the people we're looking to help serve and work with, they may not have the best credit score. They may have been incarcerated in the past. So we are obviously going to have to take things on a case by case basis on our side. But we're not going to just turn anyone away for small things like that when we're here to help them and serve them. That's going to be important for you to say. Second, eighth question. Number 8 is how do you plan to handle resident conflicts or issues? So you can let them know that we'll have house rules and a house supervisor to help resolve any conflicts or issues that may arise. We'll also ensure that there's a regular communication with case managers and service providers to support residents and address challenges early on, right? So again, just letting them know, hey, we have a plan for this. Here's how we would handle it. And it's important to say we're going to maintain a relationship with case managers and social workers, and that's where you can say like yourself, right? So if something's going down, for with a client that you referred, don't worry, we're going to keep you in the loop so that if we need to loop you in or we need your assistance, you're going to be involved in the process. Now they may not want to be, but that's okay. You're in this relationship for the long haul if you decide to sign up for it. And last but not
What?
yeah, last but not least, what's your long-term vision for these properties? So you can say, in short term, we're focusing on shared affordable housing for underserved populations. And long term, we're looking at multifamily units as possibly development projects to provide more permanent individual housing solutions. If your long term goal or vision is different than that, then go ahead and adjust, right? But they just want to know again that you have something in mind and that it's not just going to be we're just setting up one house. We want to make some quick cash flow real quick. And then, we're not going to really care about the people. And then we're going to shut it down. That's not what they're looking to do. So those are the top 9 questions. I apologize. I had to go through the last 3 fairly quickly. We got a call coming up in 3 minutes, but that's okay. Because I'm not leading the call. Gladstone is the money man himself. For people in the community, again, or people interested in the community, These questions are saved in the classroom section underneath pitch and partner. We also have, good questions that you should be asking organizations, and how to handle when an organization says no, or an organization thinks they're not a good fit to send you referrals. Like, what do you do in that situation? But hope this was helpful. And like I said, this video idea came from somebody who left a comment on one of my other videos. So if you're still listening to this and you have an idea or a request on what you think would be a good video topic, please leave it in the comments. I do read and respond to, I think, all of them. I'm pretty good. And excuse me. And don't forget to like the video, please. Have a blessed night, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.